Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to my inaugural video in which I'll be reviewing The Dark Knight Rises. But first, if you haven't seen the movie yet, there will be spoilers in this review, so continue at your own peril. Okay, let's get to the nitty gritty. This is an excellent film and a fitting end to Christopher Nolan's darkly realistic Batman trilogy. But it doesn't quite reach the height of brilliance nor depth the moral dilemma of the second film, The Dark Knight, which was aided in part by a challenging, kinetic, and thought-provoking screenplay, and of course, immortalized for the iconic, disturbing performance by Heath Ledger as the Joker. And that, I believe, is where the third film just falls short from living up to the second one. Now, don't get me wrong, The Dark Knight Rises is a great epic film, and at nearly 3 hours long, you certainly get your money's worth. There were many things I loved about this movie. The screenplay dovetails nicely, if not a little predictably, to the characters and themes of the first film, Batman Begins, particularly the idea of the rise and fall of a civilization. In fact, Ra's al Ghul's influence is thickly palpable in this film. Bane, who is largely billed as the premier villain, maintains an aura of terrorizing mystery up until the end of the film, when the real mastermind is revealed, and that is, of course, Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul's daughter, played by Marion Cotillard. Even though I was pleasantly surprised by this revelation, one of several, I would be lying if I said it was unexpected. After all, very few supporting characters in the Batman trilogy appear without ulterior motives. And although Nolan found a way to tie his movies together and ultimately bring Ra's al Ghul back without actually bringing him back, it's done so by perhaps truncating the development of Bane's character in the end. One unexpected yet satisfying turn was Anne Hathaway, who played Selina Kyle, a cat burglar living on society's fringe. Foregoing previous big screen manifestations, Nolan grounds her character by focusing on Catwoman's thieving anti-heroine background. Also, I thought it was a nice touch to never refer to her as Catwoman, so kudos to Nolan for exploring a different side to the Catwoman persona. And despite my reservations about her casting, I really enjoyed Anne Hathaway. I thought she brought some much needed levity to a very serious film. For the comic book lover, the film had many nods to classic comic book scenes that were gratifying. Everything from the initial meeting of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle in Batman #1 to, of course, the iconic back-breaking scene between Batman and Bane. I found the final revelation of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character to be satisfying and also conflicting. On one end, I thought it right that he follow in the footsteps of Bruce Wayne as Robin, Nightwing, or even Batman, whoever. However, I'm not quite sure if it completely brings this trilogy to a close, as Nolan himself has profusely stated. I suppose the studios have to leave the possibility of a sequel open for the future, though. Some things I didn't like about this movie. I thought Bane, although imposing, lacked the depth to be a true villain in Batman. I thought the film was a bit too long and could have used some tightening in the screenplay department. And finally, in overall tone, I thought this film was a bit off. I enjoyed the darkness, grit, and modernity of the first two films, and the second film in particular had a great ebb and flow of action. But I found the third to be too open, too serious, and a bit clunky. However, despite these reservations, I really did enjoy this movie, and I highly recommend it for those who have seen the first two films. And as summer movie goes, although not quite as fun, I thought it was slightly better than The Avengers. Overall, I'm giving The Dark Knight Rises a score of 8 out of 10.